So I decided to make a video maybe out of it. It's a Slew swing motor on Takeuchi TB 1140, and this will be my 4th time having it apart. Not even 150 hours ever since I first had it apart, but you always learn something new. And I will show a little bit of the disassembly. I've got the brake valve off right now. Well, it's 4 hoses that you need to disconnect. 2 outputs, one large hose, this one coming to the check valve, or something like that it's called. One is for the leakage going back to the tank. It's right, this one. Here are the inputs, outputs, high pressure ones. The brake valve is off. I will show it later. Up to now, almost everything has been replaced on it, and still there's high leakage out of it. It drifts on the slope. It's not giving me a brake. Low power because of a high leakage. Oil is escaping back to the tank. Yeah, so 4 main bolts that you need to take out also to take the brake valve off. Here I have a disc spring that already taken it out. It's like this, it's pushing on the piston for the slew brake with the friction plates. Now before I take it out, here is a valve plate on the rotor, and my guess is that it's going to be again scratched on one side. A little bit unevenly. This was completely new when I put it in. And it is a bit more one-sided wear, because here it's clear scratch marks, they're shiny, and here it's still a bit I know how you say it, it's matte color from the lapping before I put it, so it's again uneven distribution of wear on it, and I don't know why that is happening. If there were bad oil, my guess is that there will be even distribution of wear, and this is, it's not even, something offsets it, and there is oil escaping on this side. This is probably still reasonable, but you can't work with it basically. And even the thought of putting in new parts and after 100 hours breaking, I mean, they are falling apart slowly, so this problem needs to be fixed one way or another. Here's the rotor cylinder block. I don't think if I will not be able to get it out right now. The piston is stuck in, so I will pause now and make a new video. Okay, so I got the piston out now. It's pretty hard to get it out always, and also getting it back in. It's back tightly. Yeah, so now here is the cylinder block and the rotor, and this will also be pretty hard to get out. just one hand because because oil is pressuring it down. Oh, I will get it, maybe. Yes. Oh, nice. Okay, so here's the cylinder block with all the set and friction plates. I never changed those because they still have material on it. And the Slew parking brake, it applies strongly still, and it's not such a problem with holding the position when working with the machine, because this only applies after 5 seconds or so with the time delay valve here. So basically, this is only important, this friction plates, when you turn the machine off and if you leave the whole attachment up in the air or something, so that it don't start creeping, and it also releases some tension in the hydraulic motor, I believe, and in the reduction gear. So yeah. And here are now the pistons of the cylinder block. Oh, there's also still a retainer plate in it. Now I don't think if I will be able to get them out again by just one hand. I expect those to be still okay. The cylinder block is there is I don't know if I can focus it. There is wear pattern, but it's basically like it's still like new. It is shiny, of course, because there is some little wear, but you can't feel a scratch even by a fingernail. So about this part, I'm pretty sure it's still okay. The valve plate will need some relapping and regrinding, and I actually already have an old valve plate which is already reground. Okay, so there's still a ball guide on the rotor. There are 4 little disc springs in here on this motor. I will also be changing those. Okay, for a bit I thought that they were not oriented correctly. This would maybe explain the problem. This is how it does. It's basically 4 little disc springs, and it creates like a spring, if you know what I mean. So it pushes up on the rotor, so it pushes it towards the wall plate. I guess that's the function of it. Retainer plate, I have a new one ordered, even though this one is okay. There isn't wear. I don't believe there was any leakage coming from it. A little wear, but not so much that it wouldn't be possible to work with it. Now let's take one piston out. Yeah. So basically, here's the piston that goes up on the cylinder block. In it, there's still material on it. I have measured them, the thickness of the shoe that is sliding on the swash plate. It's basically a swash plate. So I will remeasure those to make sure they're okay. But there is wear pattern on it. I will have to ask someone more experienced to tell me about it, if this is a good sign or bad. I will also have to see how much material it has taken down. So yeah, this is currently that I will have to pause the video for now again, because I have to take the swash plate out. I'm also thinking, I haven't changed the swash plate, and I have one new already set up. I will change it now. So basically now everything, when I reassemble, everything will be changed except the shaft. I know the shaft is okay because I have already measured it on a CNC machine, and it's not offsetting, not even 100 of a millimeter, so it's basically perfect. The bearings on the shaft have been replaced also before, because this is, like I said, the fourth time I have it apart. So the bearings are okay. So shaft, after I change also the retaining plate, I have a new ball guide, new disc springs, the rotor is new, the pistons are new now, pistons. I will reground the valve plate. It's basically new because it's only 100 hours, not even 100 hours, and not even hard work or something. So basically everything will be new in the hydraulic motor except these friction plates and the shaft and the piston, of course, but this is not as much important. I also got a new seal kit, new disc springs, everything will be new. I will explain why I believe later why the valve plate is offsetting later in the video. There will have to be some rework done on the motor. So basically this is it for now. I'll see you when I have the swash plate out. Get the swash plate out, I will measure it to know if it's maybe it is by the previous owners, if it's also been ground down according to the new one. Check all the old parts. I think these have worn down a little on the shoes. I think there's a little less this bronze material on it, but this will definitely be reused. I will measure the pistons and the bores that go into, but I expect those to be perfect. I don't know if there's bearings. I still have to get this housing out, but not currently because I don't have the time. On the shaft, it has a little play. I think this is nothing. It has to have a little play, even though it's connected with the bearing in the housing. I can get the shaft right now out because I have to take the housing off, and it's a lot of work still. It's about an hour. I have to disconnect all these hoses to get behind there, to get those Allen screws out and get the housing out. Only then I can remove the shaft. And yeah, my current suspicion why it's offsetting, it's basically that the housing is curved. My best bet is I'll remachine it, somehow center it on one worked surface, maybe even by the shaft. I will see. So actually I more like believe that the brake valve is curved on the housing, and I will check those today. And my plan is to minimally take the material off, remachine this surface, somehow center it. I don't know where exactly, maybe here, and then see how this sets up, and to these screws then, actually to these holes where the screws come in, to see if maybe when I retighten the brake valve to the housing of the hydraulic motor, to curve it maybe, and that's what's offsetting the valve plate. and that's maybe why I get this constant one-sided wear that I can get rid of, even though basically everything has been replaced on the motor with new parts. I really hope this is the last time I have the part, that there will be later no leakage, no drift for at least 2000 hours, I don't know. Yeah, it's an old machine, so you can spec these things. It's a 2006 year. It's getting towards 13,000 hours on it, but I believe I can get it in some good shape. But these are some factors that you don't really think about. You just think of replacing the imported parts, like the rotary group, and things will be fine. But you're constantly learning. I'm gonna get the parts cleaned now, and then take this to my workplace and have them checked and probably remachined. So yeah, see you later. So basically now I'll have with a little closer look to it. I know this valve plate is the main problem for leakage. Now, like I said, on one side, and it's actually going through the center with left right. Here it's basically more worn with a little bit, with some different scratch mark here that is extending all around. And basically on this side it's almost completely fresh. It is a little worn in the middle, but on the outside and the inside it's still completely fresh from the last assembly. There's almost a little bit of that. Here I can actually see it of not, it's not shiny after I hand lap it. It's like a foggy color, mate. I don't know if that is correct expression. So yeah, the valve plate was again offsetting, and then like this is on this side, like it's pushing more, and on this side doesn't. And maybe then there's oil escaping because this is in contact with the rotor, and this side isn't, and there is probably oil escaping through this side, causing the high leakage and the slew swing not holding position on a slope, even though it should. And this is basically a big problem because I can't really, it's almost impossible to work. I have it on a farm, this excavator. I am never on level ground. Here are the pistons and the rotor. This is the swash plate. It's basically, it is almost nothing wrong with it. I measured it and it's almost exactly like new. The new one, as you can see, it's not really nicely ground. I will have that also ground down minimally on a grinding machine, make it completely flat. The piston shoes, I don't really see any problem with it. There's no play between piston and the shoes, as much as I've checked. Almost none, actually, non-existent. Like I said, these parts are 100 hours old. I mean, this is no oil is escaping through the rotor and the pistons. I'm sure of it. I will measure, like I said, I will measure the thickness of it, how much material it has taken down, but I do believe that there will be nothing, no play on the holes, some wear pattern just on the wear pattern on the pistons, but this pattern is basically still from the grinding. This is, I believe it's actually still factory made pattern on it. You can feel it, no scratch marks. On the cylinder block there is like some, I don't know if I'll be able to show it now. I'll take some pictures of it. But there's no, you can't feel anywhere on the holes. I will measure it with a 3-point micrometer, all the holes, but I expect them to be perfect still. Like they're slowly falling in. This is, oh, well, that's not really smart to damage them, but yeah, this is basically, I mean, this is no cause of my problem. I also got a new retainer plate. This is the old one. I've read some analysis that there's also some oil escaping. There is oil escaping through the ball and then through the retainer plate, so it's also smart to, but there's actually nowhere. But like I said, I will replace everything and to, how should I express myself? So I know that there shouldn't be a problem anywhere. I'm not having this new these springs yet. This will come next week actually, so I don't have to compare them with the old ones. Also new ball guide. Everything will be replaced. So yeah, I know this is the problem. Maybe through the pistons and the swash plate to escape the oil, but if I measure them and it's still up to spec, I know there isn't. This is the problem basically. Yes, so yeah, or the brake valve, the housing, offsetting it. So okay, this is basically it for now. So here I'm again at the motor now. I have to get this housing out so I can get the shaft out. It will be pretty, like I said, it will be pretty hard to get out. You see those little Allen screws? They're all around, and even behind this time delay brake valve. will show it on the camera now. It's pretty hard to get access to it on this machine. I have marked hoses here. All of those have to get disconnected to get it out. So yeah, this will be pretty hard. I have to get it out because, like I said, I don't know what is offsetting the valve plate, and I have checked the brake valve. It's not really bent, curved too much. So I have to check if this surface is maybe offsetting a little, so it's not flat. So it's then when I retighten the brake valve with the valve plate on top to maybe push a little more on one side than the other to get that uneven wear and this constant drift and low power on the swing motor. I think it will be either this or maybe, I don't know if this is okay, like it has, I have to do it like this for you to see. This is like a lot of air when I rotate it, but this is pretty much this. Maybe how the gears have worn, but the reduction gears don't really, I think, don't really have an effect on the performance of the hydraulic motor. And also, like I already mentioned, this is like a little play, but it's fixed in the bottom to the bearing, and this is pretty much far out, so you can expect a little play here. So my guess will be it will either be that this surface is a little bit curved, or maybe this where the piston comes in, and then this the brake valve also goes a little bit in there to not be really centered, concentric, or how would I say, to the shaft and then to the whole rotor and the valve plate. I don't know how important this is, but up to now I replaced pretty much everything and the problem still occurs. So it either be this or the little disc springs that are pushing on the rotor. If this is okay when I measure it, if I center it somehow, and to see that it's pretty much flat, maybe the disc springs, the barrel springs that are pushing on the rotor could probably cause the rotor not pushing enough on the valve plate. I don't know exactly how this works. This is just my assumption. Yeah, I don't have the new disc springs yet, the little 4 ones, to compare them to the old ones. My plan is to then just stack them together according to the manual, how to have to be oriented, and then measure the height to maybe lose some tension or something. Like I said, it's an old machine, so everything can be worn out, and then to expect something to go wrong. So yeah, I'll have to pause the video now because I have to disconnect everything. I can access this one, and then that one there, here, and that one. Then there's 2 behind this little brake valve, and these are really, man, is this machine. Everything is so cramped up, like you will not believe how much time just unscrewing and screwing of these bolts go. Yeah, so this is this for now, and I will show later when I have everything out and the shaft and something. Oh, just to mention, there's also a little bit play when I put the rotor on the W. It's called a spline. There's also some air. A little play with spline. I don't know if that's more to maybe then, even though the springs are pushing up for the rotor to be because of this air on the spline, and if that has an effect then with the rotor and the wall plate, I guess it does, but I don't know if it's enough of a problem for the new rotary group to fail after 100 hours. So yeah, this is it for now. Yep. I want to just show you guys why it's so hard to get this one out. If you can see that one. If I show it on a video, under there, that screw. It's really giving me something to think about, because it's under this time delay valve, like I said, and how to access it. You can't go with the classic Allen wrench, or how you call it, because you have no place around it to turn it. I could get it by hand to unscrew it, basically, but what I do, I have an extension on the power tool. I know how you call this, attachments in the English, I don't know exactly, but you basically, and this one that is turning, we call it a knee in my language, that it's a knee. You basically need two of them, because you need to have one, so get like there, and then another one, because you need another extension of it. And thank God I have two sets of those, maybe even this shorter one, just to get that a power tool on it. So I have to have it like this, and then to get under the brake valve, and then one to get up top, so I can connect it to the power tool to unscrew it. It's basically just one screw that is going to be half the time of the whole unassembly. Yeah, I know maybe I can get the time delay valve off, but I'm not sure how. I think that it's screwed on it somehow, but I'm not sure. I have to check it later. But basically, that one screw under there, that is under this box, and then there's another one. It's basically just two screws now that are going to be 3/4 of a time of the whole disassembly, and that is under this hose that I don't have disconnected. Yes, I have disconnected about 5 hoses that I have no addition to this swing motor, just to get under there currently, and maybe even more, just so you know, if anybody gets into it, what you're getting into. Maybe I'm missing something, maybe I don't have the right tools for that job. This is how I have to do it currently, so yeah. This is how I get it out, for anyone wondering. One knee and another that goes on it. It's basically like 2 right angles, and you need like this strong power tool. I know how you get it. Unscrew it by hand. Basically, I manage it now. For any poor soul that does this, good luck. I got 6 screws out now. Basically, if you have those extensions and 2 knees, you can get 5 of those easily out. That one that I showed last time, it's the hardest. Now, after, there's still one down there you see right there, but that one is easier to access than that one behind this time delay valve. With two knees and those, very easy to get out, but you basically need a power tool. I don't know. I don't know how else you can access it. Just so I know. Yeah, that is. It's pretty tight in there to get this housing out. So yeah, it's even more complicated to reassemble it because you have the brake valve on. Then it's even harder to retighten those. Just an advice, the one behind the time delay valve, don't tighten it too much, because if you ever have to take it out again, you are gonna curse a little, at least in this machine. So yeah, so I got it unscrewed. You see, basically 7 screws of this and 4 pitches. Yeah, 7. You need to be careful with those also, because on full throttle on a machine like this, I forgot that I had a mounted on there on the end. I thought it was just a straight bar, so it didn't have much power, and when I on the maximum RPM and maximum torque, it broke. Just a little scratch, but it could be bad, and it tore the pin out. It's not really designed for it, but you get it out. Like I said, those 2 hard screws I don't recommend tightening it too much, because yeah, it's a pain in the ass to get them out. You can't say it any other way. But basically this is unscrewed. Yeah, so we can again check the shaft and everything. So yeah, it's a lot of work, I tell you. This control valve in the place with all these cartridges, with all the solenoids. Man, this is like next to the swivel joint that is somewhere in there. I don't even dare to look where it's located. This is probably the second hardest thing to get out, this Slew motor. And even I'm lucky to not having to get the reduction gear out, because man, that is deep, and that is a lot of hoses that you need to disconnect. So yeah, like I said, good luck to anyone doing it. Here it is, the whole housing out of the hydraulic motor without the reduction gear. This is like planetary gear, or how we call it in English. Yes. When I was turning it, it's like a lot of play, but I guess because the gears are a little worn, and you can expect it's like a quarter, not really a quarter, maybe 1/10 of a turn, but I do believe this is okay. You can expect that on 2,000 hours, but like I said, if there was reduction gear issue, it wouldn't be a problem. I have a problem with a hydraulic motor and the valve plate blowing. I do believe, or maybe if this is affecting anything, please let me know. If I have an issue somewhere else, if the issue is mechanic or not hydraulic. So yeah. Okay guys, I will show a little bit of maybe how it is assembled. Just for the note, I also ordered a new shaft, because what I like before doing video, you will see I was always talking about how the shaft was good. Well, the problem is that the spline was pretty worn, and it basically I don't think I have it here right now. But basically the spline was worn, and the spline on the cylinder block had a lot more air there, like a lot more play, and I didn't like that, so I ordered a new one, and basically that's why I've been waiting for a week now for the reassembly. Anyway, here's the bottom part of the housing. Here comes the splash plate in and everything. I still have to get this pretty much cleaned out. Here I have the brake valve, the top of it. This is already cleaned. This is all the components. Here comes the anti-reaction valve or something like that it's called. Comes mounted on the input output. Relief valves, not really a lot to them. Basically my plan right now is to I have cleaned everything up to now with a blower. I have changed these seals. This I already changed from the previous assembly, so these have to be good, and they were actually custom made exactly for this measurements. There's like a ring and a backup ring, so that it fits on perfectly. I don't think there was a problem with this. So basically right now my plan is to again blow a little bit of brake cleaner in it, get everything cleaned out, and then every component a little bit dipping into the fresh hydraulic oil, put them in. These are a little bit not really complicated to put together. Here are the components and the plugs. They're just springs and like little puppets. This I do believe they are okay for everything, because they don't really cause any leakage. They're like, they go in nicely. They're not really scratched much, and you can't really feel any play on them. So this will probably be good. This was no problem for this my little cause and boring. So anyway, I will try to set up a phone angle, so you will see how everything maybe looks a little bit. I don't really know how to. Yeah, I will set it up. Okay, no. Maybe you will see a little, at least how I do it. I don't know if it's correct way. I'm not really expert hydraulics. I just want to fix my machine. This is basically it. So here I will first put in the relief valves. I will dip it in a little bit of oil, so it glides a little bit nicely in, and so when I start them, that it's not really like, I don't know, too dry. How would I say? Into the fresh hydraulic oil. I'm not gonna be able to tighten them completely. Also, just before, I need to check on something. Okay, so I got the relief valves in. I just checked that they were in the same position as before. Now up to this, I will put these puppets in on these big plugs. I don't know if I be able to explain it nicely in the English, but I do believe their function is like to prevent cavitation and vacuum from happening in the hydraulic motor. There's like additional oil coming from this big hose, so it's always additionally supplied to not cause air in the motor, because of the whole crossport braking and such, and when inertia of the machine when swinging is still it's turning the motor into a pump, because it is then mechanically supplied by energy, not by the flow. So it keeps turning, and it needs like additional supply of oil to prevent cavitation. At least this is how I understand it, and maybe I'm not explaining perfectly, but like I think every swing motor needs those. This one has additional like these valves. It's like it's a smaller puppet. I will show it. Just give me some time to get those plugs in. I'm not tightening yet, I'm just assembling it because it's the brake valve is clean now, so I want to close it as soon as possible to not get any dirt and debris in, because it's a little bit windy now. Here's like a smaller puppet that comes in between here. It's a little bit harder to install because it has like two washers. How would I say it? Yeah, it comes through the middle and then springs on top of it too. And it's opening like a little line between the relief valves, I believe. Also to not really to prevent cavitation, but when on a slope, to prevent rocking back and forth, because when the machine stops and it's shakes a little, there is always like a little pressure on the other side, and then shakes to the other side, and there's a little pressure on the other side, and I do believe this basically prevents it from happening. Okay, so like that, into the oil and then the washer, like that. Now I will need a little something to push it in. I just use a Allen wrench and push it in like to about the middle, but now I see that this is not really a good technique, because this Allen wrench is a little bit magnetic. Okay, yeah, this is not really good because it's pulling the washer down. Okay, so here it is. I dropped it. Here's a spring. Clean it a little, so you know, hydraulics and debris don't go together well. Use this. It's one, and now you basically, once you have the spring up and the washer below it, I plug that one, because you need to turn it around to get the other washer up. It's a little bit easier to just drop it in, so like that. Somehow it would stay up. I would appreciate it. I don't really have like a good setup right now. Oh, I dropped it nicely in. That's good. Clean the spring a little. The plug. This is basically now with this two like anti-cavitation valves and those anti-rocking back and forth ones. This is basically it. So yeah, now let's turn it that way. Now I will install this it's like an additional valve for this motor, and it's basically then it's a solenoid, electronically controlled. Oh, but I will need new O-rings for this. And it's basically, there's a switch in the cap. When you turn it, the Slew parking brake never comes on. And in addition to that, it's like additional help to this valve to prevent all those rocking, and it's supposed to make a much smoother operation of the swinging. So now I got some O-rings here, but I'm not really sure these are correct, but this is basically some up to standard. You can just buy a set of O-rings and then put them on. I already was replacing those the last time, and I just like I said, I used from the sortiment ones. Just don't look like the correct ones. Maybe I have them here. Size, but they are a bit squeezed up. Where did I put those O-rings then? Did I even have the correct ones? I'm not sure. I'll put those in for. Oh, these are these two plugs again. For measuring the pressure. These are basically just for like for left right, you know what I mean. You put how do you say it, like the gauge for the pressure. To measure the pressure if the relief valves operate correctly and such. I think you know what I mean. basically don't have the, I can't seem to find these O-rings now. No, these are not correct. This is like supposed to be on the relief bars, but from the seal kit, but like I said, I already changed those. Also some for this our little contraption here, but I wasn't tearing this one apart. Okay, so this is basically, okay, so this would be the correct size. This fit in nicely, even too nicely. Okay, and this basically has to be on it, so it doesn't really matter. But I need to find the ones that would fit nicely on here. I think I had those on, but I'm not sure. I'm not really sure if I put on, maybe I didn't even have the correct O-rings put on. This is a little bit bigger. Okay. Better get some more brake clean also. Basically, I recommend at least 3 cans of brake clean when assembling, and also like a container of this, and have some. I'm just I don't have the exact correct size for those. Very interesting. But when I actually, it's not like that. It's not the correct size, but maybe it's. But when I will retighten them, they will basically adapt to the hole. Also, these ones, but no, they're too big and not wide enough. I'm just gonna go check for some O-rings. Okay, so I can't seem to find my other set of O-rings. So basically this will have to do. They're not really up there. They are the same width. They basically are the same. Yeah, they're basically the same. They are the correct ones. But okay, since I already got those here, I will put this up now. This is like a little bit tricky to put on because you need to put this valve on. It doesn't hurt if somebody helps you with this, because you need to put this one on like that, and then you have the inputs, the main inputs, outputs. And if you are assembling this like on the machine, you can imagine it's a lot harder. We just put 2 screws like that. Okay. I could clean them a little first. If I'm already a little bit shit. Forgot about that one. Basically, like I said, these are a little bit larger. These seats for the O-rings, but we will get them. Okay, so I need 4 screws to get ready. This, even though I had them in fuel, there's a little bit of debris left on them. Okay, so like that, and like that. Get everything ready. Yeah, so now we put it on. Watch out so the O-rings don't fall off. You don't want to be working without those. Yeah. Don't forget about the main inputs, outputs. Come on, man. Yeah, this is it. No, it's not it. These O-rings want to fall down from me. Come on, like that. Okay. Now, just hold it a little. And the other one, so this one set up. The first time I had it apart, I was doing this on the machine, and it was no fun at all. I can tell you. Like, why there's still like debris left on it. I don't like that. No. Wait, you get out. I need to get it clean more. It's not good taking a chance on anything anymore when you have them apart so many times. Yeah, there's like gunk coming out. I need to clean those screws. Like I said, this motor has been giving me some real headache, something to think about. Oh, there isn't gunk coming out of those holes. Now we'll get probably get some debris into the brake valve because of that. Okay, this one is pretty much cleaned. You have like still some particles on it. Those need to get out, yeah. What about this one? Okay, they're a little bit nicer. Okay, let's try that one again. it's good having to have somebody with you when you're doing those. Come on. Just set it up a little bit where you need to be. Yeah, like that. No, the rings are still in. Like that. And then like that. Yeah, now I have them on. Fuck me, man. Where did that debris now come from? Okay, I got this set up. Just tighten those in. O-rings are seated. Also here. And with that, the brake valve will pretty much be ready. I just checked if the O-ring didn't fall out, just in case. You don't want to be taking those off again. Every input-output has 4 these little screws. Doesn't really tell you anything, but okay. Yeah, so that's that one. And this one. I'm gonna to be tightening those maybe later on the machine. Maybe it will be easier to get them real tight. This is on and the last one. Yeah. So pretty much the brake valve is assembled now. Just need to connect these ones. It's like the drain port for this one, because I guess it's draining some oil, but I've tested it, it doesn't drain any oil from it. So I know this one is, I guess, operating correctly, except if it should be draining oil. That I'm not sure of. Okay, so I can get this away now. So like I said, the brake valve is assembled. I will tighten those additionally when I have the full motor fixed in the machine. I know how much you have to tighten those, but from my experience, when I first started doing everything on my excavator, I was tightening everything pretty part. It's not really necessary. Then I started tightening a little less because no oil was leaking anywhere, and basically the next time you're taking something apart, you're just gonna be having trouble with everything. The more you tighten, the more trouble you have in the next run, if you are having a next run. If you get everything to work in the first time, there won't be a next time. So yeah, okay, just tighten a little bit by hand. I will tighten those with actually with an impact. Because for those it's not a problem because I can access them with the impact with the power tool. So I can tighten those with no real worries. This also just a little. They don't have to be, and maybe with new O-rings even less necessary to have them tightened. And I will check the pressure when I run the machine, just to know everything is operating correctly, so they don't have to be tight right now. I will tighten them later. Just tighten those up. Also just by hand. Wait, I tighten those, yeah? Yeah. This is it. So I do believe this is not correctly assembled. This is it now. Just tighten the relief house in with the impact driver, and the brake valve is now complete. Next, the whole hydraulic motor and the housing. Yeah, so that will be coming up. Yep. Now here comes the valve plate on. I will not put it on yet, of course. I will just. I had like a polishing, foam like this, and I already polished it, and actually I lapped a valve plate on it a little bit. But right now I will just take a stone and some oil on it, and just in case if I scratched it or something. You know, you're carrying everything around, and you always get some particles on it. So just in case if there's like a little scratch, I want it to be as perfect as I can. I don't have a good workshop to be in an isolated environment, and I don't have even a compressor right now to blow everything out. So I have blown out, I have taken it to my workplace, and so there shouldn't be any particles too much in it to cause something to the valve plate. This is basically it now. I have a completely fresh cloth here, and right now I will just somehow put this in to prevent everything to get inside while I am assembling the hydraulic motor. something like this. Now even though it's windy, there shouldn't be any debris coming in. I can get this out of the way. So now, here comes the hydraulic motor. So I don't know if I said I have gotten also new springs which are pushing on the rotor. I have measured the old ones to be a little bit like 4/10 of a millimeter shorter, and I guess it does something. I was always telling that this is probably the housing is curved. I have checked the surface on the brake valve that comes in contact with this. It was in 5/100 of a millimeter. I don't believe that was causing the problem. This is like perfected into the bearing bores and everything. When checked this surface where also the brake valve comes in, it's like in 3/100 of a millimeter, and I didn't have it exactly centered. So up to now, I do believe that if anything was causing right now this problem, it was the springs, the disc springs not pushing enough on the rotor, and then maybe the worn spline that comes in contact with the rotor. We will see what we get when we reassemble everything. When it's in the machine, I will immediately check the case drain, leakage. So yeah, I have to get this clean now. I'm not gonna be. I hope that you will see maybe how I assembled it, but it's not really something to learn from this video. The best is to get a manual. I don't have the manual with me right now because this is the first time I'm having it apart. So I basically know what is going on, what to watch out for and what not. I was also rebuilding the pump head and everything was okay. So yeah, I'm gonna get to it now. Maybe can you video later. So here's the old shaft and the spine. Okay, I don't know if you can see, this spline is a little bit worn, and it doesn't seem like much, but it is. You can feel a lot more play on this section, and then this section is worn out, and then the disc springs maybe not pushing enough, and then it starts maybe, I don't know how if the rotor is moving up or down a little in the motor. I don't know exact operation, but I think that like this, when it's like a little bit curved, this has to create some offset to the valve plate and everything. This was pretty much part of the problem, and the disc springs, of course. So now I have basically cleaned it inside. I don't see I can feel any debris. I have taken everything out with the brake cleaner and everything. Also cleaned the shaft with the brake clean a little bit, just in case there's like some. You can always get some particles also in dirt particles into the bearing. So yeah, you put the bearing on, the snap ring. Now I will put some fresh oil on it. to lube it up a little, like that. This comes in first. I have actually, when I was taking it apart, it was basically, I have to take it out, but I think it's going to be a little harder now to get it in. I have to hammer it in a little. I'm just gonna use an old shaft. Should go in nicely, but maybe. Let's get it out. Try to center it a little bit more. Okay, let's try that again. It is like maybe going in. I'm not entirely sure. It's stuck again. Good. Now here comes one larger snap ring that is holding the bearing in. That one is it's a little bit harder to get in because I don't have those long reach clamps. But basically, for now, after you put it in, you have to put this snap ring on, which comes here on the bottom. It's basically then pushing down on the the gear, the center gear in the planetary gear reduction unit. I'll put those in, and the snap rings in. I will not make a video of it because it's probably gonna take some time, and it's basically just playing around. So yeah, this one here, a larger one in there, and then you start the whole assembly, the swash plate, the rotor, and then all the friction plates and those. You will see. Okay, so I got the shaft in, a little play. This is it's a roller bearing, so it has a little play in the first place. And here is our new swash plate. I thought that I will have it ground down a little because I didn't really like the pattern, and then it was like there were some scratch marks from the grinding. It was not really a nice finish grind, but then I didn't do it, and I basically just with like those with a polishing cloth, and I've gotten into a pretty nice surface. So right now I have again cleaned this. Maybe just try to see if there is not some particles or anything. Again, I'm trying to clean everything as much as I can because I don't want something to get in between the valve plate and the rotor and have the same problems again. So this one, a little spray. I can see some just like a little bit of coming down. Again, just a little bit of fresh hydraulic oil on it. And on the bottom, I will not be putting the grease on the bottom like it says, because that is basically just to prevent it from falling. It's not gonna fall. This needs to rotate inside nicely. The new swash plate has a little bit more air, but it rotates nicely. A little play to the left and right, I mean. It rotates nicely inside. This is pretty much. I have something on my fingers, and it's not really wise to be touching too much. Now the swash plate is in. I need to get the rotor cleaned a little bit more, and maybe polish a little bit on the shoes, just in case. And oops, that one in with retainer plate and the guide, and you will see just. Okay guys, so I will put this away for a little bit. You will maybe see. Basically, here I have the rotor cylinder block and the valve plate. I will lap them down a little bit more. I have been lapping it, hand lapping it for a pretty while before. I had them ground down because I'm gonna be reusing these parts because they are basically new and they haven't lost much material. I have made this little contraption to give some help with lapping. I have already been lapping this I don't know, for about pretty long, about an hour, hand lapping, just minimally with minimal pressure and everything. I had them ground down, and when you start lapping you can then I will show some pictures of the whole process. You can start see that there's still some deviation then around kidneys and such. So even you expect it to be perfect, but because you basically have them ground, but there is some deviation, and I guess that's why lapping is important. And then I just put this on and I start turning. Maybe I put a little bit too much oil because I can feel it grabbing. And just, you want these two surfaces to be 100% true to each other. That's why lapping is important. And how I was doing is I basically I was lapping it as long as the grinding pattern didn't disappear, and the whole lapping pattern was prevailing, or how would I say. So I'll put it like this, and just with minimal pressure, you see, just and I have a 10 micron diamond solution, and I put a little bit of hydraulic oil on it to make the job. And just, you know, this hand lapping is a long process. Like I said, I have taken it to the TV, and I was just lapping it on the couch, doing something in between, you know. So yeah, I will now do this, and then these surfaces should match each other 100%. There shouldn't be any deviation between them to cause any leakage through them. Just so you know, this is something that has to be done. I didn't take the video of this how to assemble them. I didn't press the record button. Basically, if you're doing this, just get yourself a manual. It's worth $20. So how much is it? You can get them online and download them, or buy them at your local dealership. I have it printed out. Basically, the pistons come through the retainer plate. You have this side of the rotor down, so you have the bores up, and then you put those 4 little disc springs in the correct orientation, of course, and then the ball guide on top. After you put the pistons through the retainer plate also has to be oriented correctly. Don't forget about that, so it glides nicely on the ball guide surface. You put them through, they have to go in nicely, have a little bit of oil in them for a little bit of lubrication, and then put it in. If you have it out, the whole housing is gonna be a lot easier because you turn it to the side like I did right now, and then just have a little bit of a turn. This is pretty good, so you don't maybe hear or feel the shoes restricting or holding on to something. And this is basically it for this part. Now the only remaining is the friction plates, and then the piston for the brake valve. Then it's basically put together. Yeah. So now I got the I put in the friction and separation plates. Then comes in the piston. It's now under the spring. This spring, you have to tap it in. Now it's time for the brake valve and the valve plate. So now I will just put a new O-ring on it, clean it a little more, and then put it on. The valve plate comes on here. Here comes the pins. I have them out currently still, and then put it on here, or put it to the side and have it to the side like that. Because I won't be putting any grease on it to hold the valve plate, because I don't like the thought of having the restriction, something between here and the lower surface, just to do a little differently than up to now. Yeah, see you in a minute. So I did another disassemble because there was still a slight drift. Like, it was not that bad, but I really want this to work perfectly. And now I have found pretty much the cause of this slight drift. Let me just show you this. Now the case drain leakage. This is 30 seconds of measuring time. This is cold oil. This is maybe about tenth of a liter, and this is hot oil, and this is more like 0.7 liters. Both measured for 30 seconds. Even though the hot oil is a lot, what I was trying to say is that even though there is a lot of oil, this is about 1.5 liter in a minute, it's still up to spec. So the motor basically operates okay now. The main cause of leakage has been eliminated. Here is the rotor that I had installed in right now, and you basically can see those lighter areas. Those are the only ones still okay, because when the piston goes in, I noticed it, but you can see this is a lot of slop, and I guess that on the side when it's extended, this is too much. Here I have the old rotor that I had inside, and this rotor is basically still okay, because I measured it, and the dimensions are actually okay, but I just replaced everything the last time. And on this rotor, this tolerance is a lot tighter, and there is no slop, no play, basically. So I'll be reusing now the old rotor, and I just know that after that it has to be working perfectly. Here I have the valve plate on that I will also be reusing. I'm using this like it's diamond solution for lapping. I still have to get it to some nice surface, just in case that I don't want any leakage going through here, through the rotor and the valve plate, so that will all operate perfectly. So this will basically be it. I will make a video after I assemble everything, and you will see how it works. So yeah, so just to give you guys an idea of what I'm talking about, this is now the good rotor, but it's the old one. This is the new one, but it has bad bores. Here, look, nice and slowly, no play, and this, it just drops in. This is yeah, I didn't think much of it, and I was sure that the old rotor cylinder block was the problem, also because there is like no material on it, but it's completely different design. You see here on the new one, this is a millimeter of material, but now when I measured them, but I still have to check the whole height of it from where the contact surface of the disc springs to the valve plate contact surface is basically the same. So this rotor had no wear whatsoever. I just thought it was because of this, because it's a different design of the contact surface on the valve plate side. But then you can see there's much more material here than it is on the inside. This has the same amount of material on the inside and the outside, so I thought this was bad, but it's basically still good. So now this one goes in the old one. I will try to refurbish this one. I work in the CNC industry, so I know some tricks how to do everything, and I will have it for just in case if sometimes this breaks down, but I am pretty sure that this will solve this drift. You know, this is, yeah, there was lots of oil still escaping, and I do believe the leakage after I assemble this now will be even lower, even though now it's up to spec, but I do expect just a drizzle after I reassemble. See you soon. Also, the motor had a bit of 20 hours from the last assembly in it on the machine. There's like some scratch marks on the valve plate, but it's pretty much even now, so that issue has been resolved with the disc springs and the shaft being worn. I have left it now, but there is like some wear pattern, but this is literally non-existent. I have left them already. Now it just waits for an assembly, basically. Maybe I will show the assembly, because I think the last time I didn't. we will see. So the assembly basically is pretty straightforward. Rotor, ball guide, clean everything as you go. Into the ball guide come the disc springs. This is the correct orientation of them. It's worth remembering if you don't have the manual. This goes inside and this goes now on top. Make sure not to drop them. Then the retainer plate for the pistons. Also give it a little splash. Yeah, here, then, and in comes the pistons into everything. Then you basically just have to make sure that nothing falls down when you are putting it inside the motor. This is basically it. I can't make too much longer videos because I don't have the storage on the phone. I'm recording everything with my phone, so this is pretty much straightforward. This is it. So after you have everything together, this needs to rotate nicely. You must not feel any restrictions. This has to be perfect, you know. Then just put some oil on it and such, so that it's lubricated when you are assembling. This is basically it, yeah.